Welcome, world, to Life, Love, and Wellness Global, a worldwide wellness movement. I am Reverend Sandy Rogers, and as the creator of this historic event, it is my pleasure to welcome you. We come together to bring you this historic event. We have practitioners, holistic practitioners. We have medical doctors. We have spiritual individuals. This event is so lovingly dedicated to my mother, Mrs. Barbara Dean Brown. And my mother taught me like 40 plus years ago about the importance and the meaning behind herbs. And she would always say, we don't know what they putting in those pills, so you better not, get hooked on prescription drugs. And so we listened to Mom, but not all of us paid attention. My sister, bless her heart, was diagnosed recently thereafter with asthma, and she was prescribed prednisone, which is a very powerful steroid. And my sister actually got hooked on steroids, like someone out on the street kind of hooked, like on heroin or crack or something like that. And so my mom and my sister are both on the other side, living in the other dimension, but they're upholding me, and this is dedicated to their memory. So we don't want to come and make you change your mind about what you're doing. We just want to provide information to you, something different, so that you have options to choose from, so that you're not stuck. Because the environment that we now live in, the fast foods, the toxins in the air that we breathe and in the water that we drink, and the processed foods, and all of that is causing havoc on this precious body temple. So God created our bodies to heal themselves, but they can only heal themselves when they're fed and they're nourished and they're stress-free. And so the 60 or so or more experts that we have are bringing you this worldwide wellness movement in an attempt to share their testimonies and their information with you. So we have from age 14 on up. I don't even know what the oldest age is. I think 88 or something. So you see, that's a wide range of knowledge that we're bringing you. And so we hope that you come and that you get all the knowledge that you need to affect a positive change on your life, and share this with others. It's free, it's online, and so we're just so thankful that you decided to be a part of our listening community, the viewing community, and we certainly appreciate you for giving us your time of day and your energy and your efforts to being with us and to being a part of this historic event. We have pulled together people of color for you, by you, right? So we want to make sure that you understand that we too, melanated people with color, can enjoy, practice, and participate in some of these modalities that others have been doing for centuries, and that is pretty new to our community. So we talk about Qigong, we talk about meditation, yoga, spiritual work from a different perspective than religion. So we talk about the spirituality aspect. We talk about abuse in the families. We talk about all kinds of subjects because we know that in our communities there are layers and layers and layers and layers of stuff that we never talk about that's causing a negative effect on our bodies and its healing process. So we address it, whatever it is, and we hope that you will benefit from the many experts that we have, and that you walk away with lots of knowledge and lots of new information, and that you become fully empowered to share information with others. So thank you for being with us. We love you and we bless you, and we look forward to doing this again. But thanks for being here with the first one. We appreciate you.
Life, love, and wellness. Life, love, and wellness.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Phyllis L Miata, and I work for the kingdom. Okay. I was given my spiritual name L back in, I want to say 2016. I was visited by a spirit, and the name and the letter L stand for love, life, and light. And then in 2017, after completing a task that spirit told me to do, I was visited and was given the name Miata, and spirit told me that's my universe name. So as I come back in through reincarnation, that is the name that I'm known by throughout the universe. So my name is Phyllis L Miata, and it's a transformative name. It represents. I always say spirit gets to elevate you as you complete the task that spirit wants you to do. So through that elevation, it allows me to transform because it's a transformative name. So it's like sanctioning that I have come through some things, especially coming out of the third dimensional thought realm into, which is the human consciousness, into the fifth dimensional thought, which is the divine consciousness, and understanding all that represents in delivering the light that I have been told to do. My task is to teach people how to move from their human consciousness to their higher thought realm, their divine consciousness, into fifth dimensional thought. My core is with parents and the family. Come into the dimension of life. When we come into the dimension of life, life is a dimension. That energy from our spiritual realm is now divided into a dual consciousness. We enter a dual consciousness because we have to connect with the physical world. So we have this duality going on. We have the human consciousness and we have the divine consciousness. That divine consciousness is actually the part that connects us to what we call God. Some people look at it as an entity. Some people look at it as a mental realm, a mind. And some people look at it as an energy. However you look at it, it's perfectly okay. But that is what comes with us into personification, that part of us. But the human consciousness is, like I said, it's the subconsciousness, whereas the divine consciousness is much more powerful because that is our pure thought, our pure energy. The human consciousness allows us, it's like a reservoir in a sense. It allows us to receive information from the outside world. It acts as like a depository to a certain extent, but we get to collect and connect with the outside world, the physical world as we know it. But now we have to process that information. There's going to be automatic processing of the information by the brain. Remember, the brain is real, but the mind isn't. You get to determine what's in your mind. There's going to be automatic processing the information. What we want to do is learn to process it from the divine consciousness. Remember, as you start to, in your thoughts, words, and actions, here's something you can reflect back on. If you ever had a moment where you say, you know what, I thought about that, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have said it this way. That's that second thought probably teaching you, I should have said it from my higher consciousness. So if I don't train myself to use my divine consciousness a lot, which I'm saying my higher consciousness or fifth dimensional thought, then I use my third dimensional thought, all the things that I've been taught to do in the human world, connect humanly. And that's the things like the feelings, more of the emotional side of us, okay? So those things, things that we learn, we should respond this way. But there's a lot of times things that we've been conditioned to do in the human world because we are humans by human beings, and we've been taught sometimes to react and respond a certain way, but we haven't conditioned ourselves to look at it from the higher consciousness, the light. What, there used to be a saying way back when, and I don't profess any religion, but there used to be a great saying like, what would Jesus do? And I thought that was a very great saying because it got you to step away from what you would do and think about, well, what would Jesus do in this situation? So what would God do? Let's think about that for a moment. Will there be separation in our answer? Will there be a submissiveness? Will there be anger in that answer? And how would that be delivered? How would that be presented to a person? So you step back and you're like, what would God do? And just that thought, you would probably think twice and say, I'm not going to say that. My thoughts, words, and actions will change.
How would you say your work intersects with the wellness of the community in general?
I would say it all boils down to energy. We are all energy. At the core of us, we are all energy. You know, I was at an event this week and I would ask people, have you ever heard the universal laws? And someone said, have you ever heard E equals MC squared? They're like, yes. That E is think of that E as the pure energy, and the M is you, the matter of you, when you're in personification. So when we come into personification, we're still energy. We're just slowed down, okay, to where we can be seen and everything. But just think about the M. You know more about E equals MC squared than you think, because that M represents mass, which is the matter of you. You matter. You are in self. You are in personification. Personification means in person, in a physical body. This is you. But as energy is supposed to come in and we are supposed to create our world. So one aspect of being energy, think about an alkaline body, okay? It's very important to understand our internal system, the food that we eat, and all of that, because energy is supposed to come in to us through food, through light, and we're supposed to create. But what happens sometimes is that the energy gets locked inside of us through anger, through other things that we have not really dealt with in our lives. So we have this blockage, and it can set up what we call dis-ease, or things that, or what we call low vibration. The biggest thing that I want people to understand as they move into their higher thoughts, a key component for helping them move into their higher realm is forgiveness. When I was preparing for this, I was like, God, what do you want me to say? And Spirit said, Phyllis, let the people know that forgiveness is very important to creating a new mindset. And I thought about that. I thought about even Psalms 23. And they said renew and restore and all of that. Well, what is that? When you renew, when you restore yourself, what are you saying? You have to forgive yourself to go into that renewal and into that restoration. So I would challenge people out there, make the phone call, write the letter, release it. Don't worry about what the other person thinks. And if the other person is no longer around, or they may have transitioned and they're no longer with us, write a letter to them, okay? Place it under your pillow and just speak, God, let this person know, let the universe, let this person know that I'm sorry, or I apologize, I wasn't at my best, and ask for forgiveness so you can let it go. Don't think about what the other person will say. This is about you releasing, because as we release, we open the portals, we open that what we supposed to be a conduit, and we allow energy to flow back through us. So make the phone calls, write down the names of people you think you need to offer forgiveness to, or people you need to forgive, and it's okay. It's not about them. It's about, first of all, you releasing, and now you can go create a world of light. Because when that energy is blocked inside of you, you're going to create a world of darkness. There's only two things that can come out your mouth. One that is life enhancing, light, and one that is not life enhancing, darkness. So we want to be life, but of light. We don't want to be light and of darkness. Those are two different things. So we want to learn how to think in the opposite of what's going on, not to focus on the effect, but to focus on the cause, and the cause being our thoughts, our words, and our actions. So for a lot of you who probably have a Bible, I like to say 2 Timothy 1:7 is a great understanding of the universal law of polarity when it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." Don't focus on the fear, but focus on thinking agape loving thoughts, agape loving actions, agape loving words. Focus on, again, opposite of fear, agape love, and then power. Power is the ability to create. In the human consciousness, power is the ability to submit. We want to get a person to submit to us. But in the spiritual world, just like God created the world when there's a void, when there's fear, you want the power to create. So God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power, the ability to create. But we can't create if we have all that energy locked in us through anger, hate, unforgiveness. You got to release it to create the world that you want. And hopefully that world that you want, because you're at that level, is going to be of the kingdom, of which means of good, of God, of the all power that is within you. The household DNA, and we call it household DNA pyramid, but we also call it the parenting pyramid. But as I tend to grow, what I've learned about spirit, when you listen to spirit, and again, I use spirit as the part of God that is within me. I use the term God as the universe, the part of the wholeness of God, the all-powerful, the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. But the funny thing about it, Sandy, is when you are given a task, and you write from spirit, you sometimes don't know what you have. So it's constantly evolving, it's constantly adapting. As you start to learn and grow, you're like, wow, you see a different meaning. So in this origin, is in there are 7 spiritual principles of parenting, of household DNA. And as we start to study and teach these principles, then what occurs is we move into a higher vibration, move to a higher consciousness. So let's just explain. There are 3 parts of it too. There's the foundation, there's the backbone of this pyramid. So think of a pyramid, think of the foundation of the pyramid, and then think of the corners of the pyramid, which is like the backbone to keep the structure. And then the face of the pyramid are the nourishing parts. Well, agape love is the foundation of it. And agape love is the support system, is the state of being that we want to be in. Okay, so that covers the foundation. There's only one foundation, that's agape love. On the sides there, think about those 4 corners of a pyramid. So on the sides, you have agape love, you have peace, you have provisions, and you have protection. So those are the 4 corners, and those are states of being that you always want to be in, that state of being. You always want to be loving. You always want to be in peace. And this, we talk about spiritual peace. We talk about provisions. Provisions mean in a state of not just wellness, but wholeness, spiritual, mental, and physical. And you want to be in what we call protection. Protection being protection of this mind, spirit, body, emotion, and all of that, the mental protection. That doesn't necessarily come from what we think about alarm systems and guns and all of that. The level of protection that is our greatest is what we put out, because what we put out is mirror back in what we get. So that's the greatest level of protection you will ever have. If you act of God, then the universe can only give you God-like things back. So you have to understand in that and stay in that mental realm of our divine consciousness, not our human consciousness. Then we have the front. The front of which you would think of the size of a pyramid. And don't worry, if you're not getting this, There's a website, you can go look at it, and it's going to be great. Okay, you can study this on the website. I'm just going to say phyllislmiata.com. If there's something you're not getting, trust me, it's there. Okay. So then you have the size. The size represent things that you're supposed to do daily with your family. Agape love, bless and edify, elicit wisdom, and guide. And once you get to that guide part, this is where the modification comes in from the original version to the latest version. Spirit said, I want you to put a light there. So the one that's on the website has the light, showing that now you are a light, you are a guide. Okay, you don't have to convince people what to do or convince your family members of what to do when you are exhibiting this. Okay, because now what is occurring, they are being raised in their greatness and to act and think and speak from the divine consciousness, because this is what they hear. We waste a lot of time, or we don't use our time wisely. We don't use our energy wisely when we don't practice or teach in our divine consciousness, when we do the opposite. So say what's, for example, the opposite of love is hate and anger. Okay, the opposite of blessed edification is to speak words of destruction. The opposite of wisdom is ignorance and foolishness. And the opposite of guiding a person is following them or having someone to follow instead of turn within to be the guide. When we do that, then down the road, when our kids are 13, 14, and 15, and things are occurring, okay, and someone may step in and say, we kind of have to reverse this or get to a point of self-realization, operate in the higher of who you, in the higher self of who you are, then we have to backtrack. It takes about 7 positives to eradicate 1 negative. So you have to backtrack. When I was given doing parent support groups over in DeKalb County Jail in Georgia, this was several years ago, I would tell the parents, I would say, well, write down how many times you probably cursed your child out, and they'll write it down. And I said, now, in order to just mute that, you have to use about 7 positives. So if you think about what that means when a child leaves out the house or what's going on in the household, you build up all of this negative energy, and it's not a 1-for-1. If I say I dislike or something or belittle a person, it's not that I go back and say one thing. No, you have to do about 7 times. Okay, that's just to match it. Now to get above it, you have to go greater than the number 7. So these are the things that we have to realize when we deal with energy. The universal laws tells us how that energy is being used. You are using it anyway. You're creating your world anyway. You might as well be conscious of what you are doing. And that's the goal of what I do. Is you are conscious of what you're doing, then you can take more of responsibility in what's happening to you. Okay? Don't focus on the effect. Focus on the cause. Instead of focus on why did the cars get repossessed, why did a car get repossessed, or why is this happening to me, trying to prevent that. The cause is, what are you thinking, what are you speaking, and what are you doing? Your thoughts, words, and actions. That's the universal law, cause and effect. So just right away, we have talked about 3 universal laws. Well, maybe more than that, but definitely universal law of polarity, universal law of correspondence, that energy being in you. Talk about the universal law of vibration, the vibration of, you want to increase your vibration and focusing on what's under the God side, not under the ego, the human consciousness, but under the spirit, the divine consciousness. And I even gave you a verse to look at. But also the universal law of cause and effect. Then you have the universal law of rhythm, the universal law of gender, and the universal law of, mentalism, which is the big kahuna, because the divine consciousness and human consciousness are in our mental realm. The universe knows. We always get this debate, is there darkness in the world? look at it from two ways. Well, first, the universe always knows. So there's nothing you can do that the universe doesn't know. It's a mental realm. I was watching the Ten Commandments last night, and there was a part where Moses comes back from his connection with God on the mountain, and he says, and I just heard this for the first time. As much as I watched that movie, I don't remember hearing it. He said, God is not flesh and blood. He's mental, something like that. I said, oh, it's right there in the movie. So Spirit has told me, and God, through my work, never convince anyone of God, never convince anyone what they have to do, because eventually our road to enlightenment is that we all going to have to turn within. And as we transition from third dimensional thought through fifth dimensional thought, which is human consciousness, to divine consciousness, we all got to deal with some stuff. Okay? It plays a role in everything that we have to do. And on this earth, Mother Earth, which is using the term feminine, okay? Because if we look at the universal law agenda, it is the sun, and I'm going to keep it simple. Like your shining star, right? Remember Earth, Wind, and Fire song, your shining star, no matter who you are. Well, that's the sun, that light that is within you. No matter who you are, that light is within you. But in the universe, it is things with the male, donated as male, gives the pattern, the instruction. So the sun gives the pattern. Without the sun, the earth wouldn't know how to revolve or where the path of revolution. But also, in a sense, we look at things in the mother form, or earth, the female, is because its ability to nourish the seed, being the father, the earth, the nourishment. But also, when we look at that second womb, the second womb is Mother Earth. Spirit gave me 2 weeks ago, last week, when I did the 12th week of the universal laws, which we talked about the spring equinox. The day before, Spirit gave me a poem, and it went something like this. This is called Enlightenment. Someone who turns back the hands of time, born in darkness, but is able to climb. Someone who turns back the hands of time, learns to walk, but is able to fly. Someone who turns back the hands of time, lives in a nest, but never is able to rest. Someone who turns back the hands of time, moves slow, but is able to go. Someone who turns back the hands of time, passes through Mother's Earth's second womb, taking flight with eagle's wings, ascends to the light. Someone who turns back the hands of time, becomes a star and guides. Someone who turns back the hands of time, lives. That poem reminds us of our born in darkness and our human consciousness, but being able to just live and ascend in our higher dimension of thought, but choose to operate in the light of agape love, life, and light. And remember, it is the recognition of darkness that gives us the choice to operate in the light. Okay? And that's it. You are of God. You guys are miniature gods and goddesses. You are creating your world. Understand how that world is being created. Understand that energy. Understand the power of the energy, because it's there with you. Understand that. Go to the website and learn the universal laws. But understand the power of the energy, the 7 Hermetic universal laws, which are taught which are delivered in simplistic ways on our website. Okay? That would be the dividing thought. You are of God. You are miniature gods and goddesses. Don't underestimate the power of the light that is within you.